Welcome to the 168 Hour Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. He has a PB half marathon of 1 hour and 22 minutes, a 10k PB of 36 minutes, and a 5k PB of 16:50. He is also doing a PhD in heat physiology. So we're going to learn a lot about heat training, advice with heat training, and what you can do in the changing climate in the UK and around Europe to help you in your upcoming races. So Shoji, thank you very much, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
How did the 10k go last week?
Given the circumstances, I'm pretty chuffed about it.
Yeah.
Can't lie.
Yeah.
I was saying like the week before I had a couple niggles going into it, and obviously the forecast predictions was like 30 degrees, so
Yeah.
I had to kind of lower my expectations of like what was possible on the day. So I was, like I said to you, I thought 35s could have been possible, like perfect conditions.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of set off a bit conservative, and halfway actually felt quite good. So I was pushed on, and I would definitely take a 36-minute.
Yeah.
10K. You
mentioned about the circumstances not being great. Kind of talk us through the lead up.
The lead up. Well, yeah, mainly just the couple niggles, like suffering a little bit of pain on the Achilles, bit of pain on the hip flexor.
Typical running
injuries.
Injuries.
So definitely, I lowered my mileage a lot down that week, because I'm in the middle of a marathon block also in the moment. So I was doing 80k weeks before.
Yeah.
The lead up to that, I did the plan was to like lower it down to like 50s to 60, but then I ended up doing like 30k the week before just because I didn't want to put a lot of load on myself before.
Yeah, and I mean for kind of a taper, that's the ideal taper.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. Because I guess that because it's technically a B race for me as well, so like the taper wasn't fully needed, but like I mean, it was I think what was required, especially given the niggles, and luckily we held out.
Yeah.
Got past the finish line. Right.
Yeah, true. So you mentioned you're in kind of mid-marathon training, warm marathon.
So ultimately the goal is to run a London Good for Age time.
Yeah.
So at the moment I'm gonna do the Barnstable Marathon, very well known UK Barnstable Marathon. Literally is at the end of September, which is like the deadline to run a Good for Age time. So nice. The whole plan is to try and run sub 2:52.
Sub 2:50. What's that pace per k?
Roughly around 4-minute pace. Yeah, just.
Nah, you'll do that.
We'll see.
Do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah, nice. And then will that qualify you into London?
The London for next year.
For the following year.
Yeah, 2027. And
then is that the kind of standard time for all races to qualify for London? That 2:52? If you get that, do you then qualify for London? How does that kind of work?
So at the moment, 2:52 for men 18 to 39, I think, is the London Good for Age time, specifically for London Marathon.
Yeah.
They haven't actually released the official Good for Age time for 2027 yet, but obviously everyone's heard it's a 2-day London Marathon now, so they'll likely change 2:52 because they're also doubling how many people can get in for Good for Age. Yeah. So it's usually 3,000 each time, but now it's 6,000. So it'd be interesting to see whether some people actually think they might make it a bit easier, potentially.
Maybe. If they only give 3,000 places, do they take the top 3,000 people? How does it?
Yeah, it's a bit complicated. So they'll have multiple age brackets for like different qualifying times. Yeah. And obviously they'll split probably equally 1,500 for guys, 1,500 for the women.
Yeah.
I remember I just looked online and I read it, for example, like it seemed like last year most people who did sub 2:52 got in.
Okay.
But I know in previous years, or like for example like the Boston Marathon qualifying times, I think Boston Marathon's like 2:55, but if you went just under 2:55 you wouldn't get in.
Oh really?
Sense. You like most of those things you need like a buffer of like roughly like 3 to 4 minutes or something like
Yeah. Yeah.
that. But London seems like at the moment, if you get under it, you should get in, but it's not guaranteed basically.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones.
Yeah, of course. Did you enter the ballot for London?
Of course.
Didn't get in.
No, shock.
I know, normally, but I actually know someone. We were at a works conference last week, and we all had our emails through, and she got in.
I mean,
which is crazy, but it gave me a bit of kind of false hope. So I was like, it was her first year actually applying to get in, so she got in. I was like, it can't be that hard.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I had my email through about 2 hours later, and it came through. I was like, I'm in. Yeah, sorted. But no, not a chance.
Yeah, they send it like everyone gets it at really weird times of the day, don't they? It's not one bulk email at the same time. I don't know why they do that.
No, normally, and it put me on edge. Sorry. It put me on edge for like the rest of the day. I couldn't concentrate in work.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the challenge, I guess, right? And that's why London's such a good marathon to get into.
I mean, it basically went from 1% chance to 2% chance by.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy. But like, even though people know that, I knew it was 2% chance, but on the day you're like, oh, you never know. You could be that lucky person.
Yeah. Yeah. And they also done the thing this year, didn't they, where you could double your chances.
Oh, did you do that this year?
No, I didn't do it.
Oh, you didn't do that?
But it was like £80 with no guarantee, a 2% chance of getting in it.
Oh, you get that awesome running vest.
No, it's definitely not worth it. No, £80.
I don't think I'm ever going to do that. No.
Yeah, no me. So, you're chasing all 6 world marathon majors?
7. Well, 8 now. 8 now.
What are they?
So there's 3 in America, so you got Chicago, New York, and Boston.
Yeah.
In Europe, you got London and Berlin.
Okay.
And then you also have in Asia, Australasia, you got Tokyo and Sydney.
Wow.
And then the most recent one is, I think I released them a month ago, is Cape Town. First one in Africa.
Wow. Yeah. Have you got a timeline on when you want to do? Is it a plan?
So the only plan is the first one I'm going to go for is London.
Yeah.
And it's going for London Good for Age.
Yeah.
So the plan is to hopefully do my first one next year.
Yeah.
And then, the plan is that if I run a London Good for Age time, most other these world majors also have like a time qualifying scheme as well.
Yeah.
So, for example, Boston, obviously, Boston's the unique one where it doesn't have a ballot, and you actually do need to qualify for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I should hopefully qualify for Boston at the same time, which would be awesome to do that.
Yeah.
Chicago. What else? I feel like Berlin's actually one of the easiest ones to get in the ballot. But I still didn't get in last year. But yeah, that's also because it's quite close. That's quite an easy one to tick off. So
yeah, of course. So London's the
first one, and then hopefully I'll have 3 or 4 in the bank, like qualified, and then I'll just probably tick off at least 1 a year, basically, as a goal. Potentially 2 some years. Yeah,
and is it a course within those marathon majors that is like pan flat ideal? I mean, I guess London, right? They done.
London, obviously, you've got the world record, obviously, but it's actually not the flattest.
Oh no.
So people are always shocked how that's happened and stuff like that. I think the two of the flattest is Chicago and Berlin. Both have got quite a lot of records happening on those.
Wow. Yeah. Was Berlin where the first sub-2 was broken?
It was unofficial?
Yeah.
That was Vienna, I believe.
That was Vienna. Cool. No, sounds good. I mean, London, even though it's just gone, it seems like it's just around the corner, especially with the ballot and stuff coming out now. People are training for it. There's more talk, especially with the 2 days. Feels like every time, obviously we live in London, so you feel like every time I speak about running, people speak about London and then the marathon.
It's just so prestigious, isn't it? Everyone wants to do it, and especially it's such a good opportunity to try and do it with us living in London. It's just special.
I think they should give free entry to all runners that live in London, and do a week event, and we all run it.
Sick.
So, kind of moving on. Obviously, I introduced you PhD at the beginning. Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what's it actually in? Obviously, we mentioned, like, before we started filming, that you have a specific question. What's your research kind of based around?
Yeah, so like you said, so I'm doing a PhD within the area of heat physiology, which I would explain that as basically how heat or hot environments affect the human body. And so within that, my specific area for my PhD is looking at basically workplace or occupational heat. So, and also looking at a specific population of like the aging worker population. So how we define that is about between 50 to 70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are old but still working basically. So what we're trying to do within my PhD is I'm trying to simulate these really like hot working environments that older people will have to work in.
Yeah.
So what we have at my university at King's College London is this environmental heat chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So we can basically change the temperature, change the humidity, and off topic, you can actually change the altitude in there as well.
Oh wow.
So what I basically get people to do as part of my research, I'll get younger people like you and myself and older people between 50 to 70.
Mm-hmm.
We'll bring them into this heat chamber and it'll be set to 40 degrees, 30% humidity, and they would wear like a worker coverall on to try and simulate the work stuff, and they'd be walking in that environment for 3 hours basically.
Jeez.
And then we're basically trying to measure whether these older people are more at risk in the heat. So things, obviously we're measuring core body temperature to see if they're getting hotter.
Yeah.
And then interestingly, like we're taking like blood samples, urine samples, and then we can actually see what's happening inside the body.
Mm.
So we're interested in things like what's happening to the kidneys, what's happening to their guts.
Yeah.
And obviously measuring like whole body stuff, like how much are they sweating, are they sweating more, is the heart beating more, and loads of stuff like that.
Wow. So is there an age where there's a noticeable difference where you become affected by the heat?
So what's generally considered is as you get older, your thermoregulation gets impaired.
Mm-hmm.
And so loads of people have done research on like what people class as elderly, so like maybe above 65 years old.
Okay.
But some research has shown like even from the age of like 40 years old, you can start to see slight impairments in like, for example, how well you thermoregulate.
Yeah. Wow. So I mean, I guess this is more like, this is so relevant with the heat wave exactly. We've just been through and stuff. Do you think we're kind of going towards a way where people from 40 on are going to be able to work less efficiently than someone younger? If obviously the temperature keeps rising, is that going to be kind of a factor in people's day-to-day lives? Obviously we'll come on to training in a little bit, but that's quite interesting.
I think like definitely, for example, if we're talking about firstly like the workplace, like we definitely need to consider like we all respond so differently to the heat. Like even just like me and you, the differences that we see even in my testing, like we all respond, it's such an individual response, for example. And I think, for example, they're now, I don't know if you've seen in the news, but they're now finally talking about like a maximum workplace temperature and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is obviously very topical now. But my research is going to argue that there shouldn't be one maximum workplace temperature. You've got to think about the individual. So like a younger person, an older person should have a different maximum workplace temperature, essentially.
And what do you this is going to be quite a difficult question, but what is that temperature for like, most of the listeners are between kind of the ages of 20 and 30.
Yeah.
Do you have kind of a figure there? So people can go into work now and say, it's actually 35 degrees, I'm not allowed to work.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think one of my supervisors he's done like research on like workplace productivity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think what you see maximum workplace productivity in is temperatures in like the high teens, low 20s.
Yeah.
And I think anything above that, you're seeing declines in productivity.
Okay.
But like no one's, that's why there's need for research. No one's really found that actual temperature where it would be considered safe to work.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's very, very much debatable at the moment, depending on factors like, are you indoors, how hard are you working? There's so many factors into whether it'd be safe or not. For example, like the clothes you're wearing as well, that's a big factor. So
yeah. So I mean, like I said before, this is more kind of relevant than ever because the heat wave we've just been through. Obviously, we mentioned kind of in the prep to this podcast about kind of the gut heat stroke and getting ill. Kind of talk us through that and kind of can you break down what's actually happening when we're going through that process of getting ill?
I feel like the gut is so interesting, and especially like I feel like a lot of people are suddenly interested in the gut in terms of like gut health and microbiome. It's really been quite popular recently. But yeah, it's only when I started my masters at King's with my supervisor, I only realised that not many people know that the gut is like one of the main organ systems related to heat stroke.
I didn't know that.
And the mechanism behind it is like really interesting, personally. So basically, like obviously when we get hot, what happens is we send more blood to our skin, and this is one of the ways how we try and offload heat to the environment, try and cool ourselves down. And because of that, what a lot of people know is we're sending more blood to our skin, so that means our heart rate has to increase. So that's why we get a higher heart rate in the heat, is because more blood's going to our skin. And another way the body has to cope with that, because more blood's going to the skin, we actually have to decrease blood towards our internal organ systems, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Because if you're perfusing more blood to the skin, that some areas are going to have to see decreases in blood too. So one of those organ systems is the gut. And so if you think about it, if you're getting less blood going to your gut, you're getting less oxygen going to your gut. So that less oxygen going to your gut can actually cause damage to your gut barrier.
Oh, wow.
And all that healthy bacteria which you have inside your gut, that can actually leak into your circulation, your bloodstream. And if they're healthy and all that, then the liver should be able to deal with that. But if you're seeing lots of this bacteria leak in, and it's for long periods of time in the heat, what can actually happen is very similar to a condition called sepsis. You can actually see this bacteria basically causing an infection, attacking your body.
Wow.
See lots of inflammation, and essentially it can literally, this is what causes heat stroke basically. You get shut down in organ systems, and it's really, really bad, really fatal.
So if you start getting to this point where we are getting like the oxygen is getting taken away from our gut and we start feeling a bit ill. How quickly can like it go from I'm suffering a bit here to I need medical assistance?
Well, for this to actually happen, I feel like the heat you got to be within the heat for like a long period of time.
Okay.
For example, like in a 5k race, you're not really going to get that bacterial translocation. It's not going to be long enough. For example, even though you could get really hot really quickly, but like that more be linked to like heat exhaustion, for example. So I feel like in terms of like running, maybe like a marathon would be more comparable. So like you're experiencing these hot temperatures for like a long period of time, and in terms of like the symptoms, so you're saying like you're starting to feel quite hot, like not great. It can literally like snap and like you could be.
Oh really? So
it can happen quite quick, like quite quickly at the onset.
So how long kind of have you got to be exposed to this heat? So if we're running a marathon, obviously 26.2 miles, 42k dead on.
Pretty much,
42k. At what point through that should people start to maybe this should pop into people's minds in terms of distance? If you're running, let's say, a 4-hour marathon.
No, it's a good question. I feel like you just got to be just really honest with yourself of how you're feeling. Because even if it's just not heat stroke, it's like the heat affects you in so many ways. Like if you feel like the slightest symptom of like I'm suddenly not feeling good here, like yeah, I would recommend someone to obviously stop, but even like for you and myself as an athlete, it's I think what's dangerous, especially about the elite athletes, like that mentality of like not giving up, which is great obviously, but it can really impact your health.
And I guess going back to what we said before, it's probably different for everyone, like different genders, different ages.
Exactly, it's going to be completely different for everyone.
Yeah. So is it kind of a chain of events that happen, or is it the case of, like I said, it can happen quite quickly? What are the stages of actually going through this process to, like, in the end, do we end up kind of fainting and, you know, going unconscious, or what's kind of the process from I'm feeling hot to I need help?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Like you said, the symptoms between like heat exhaustion and heat stroke are very can overlap a lot. But like, I feel like obviously fainting can like happen very close to that onset of like I'm feeling hot. Hence, like with our studies, if anyone ever feels like lightheaded or stuff like that, we take them out straight away because we don't want to. Yeah. There'll never be like the risk of heat stroke with our studies, but it's only because we just don't want anyone to pass out basically.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so usually like if you're feeling hot, then some people get actually like shivers and like
nice. Is it anything, going to kind of the training side, is it anything people can do to kind of protect against getting to this point, whether that's pre-race, during a race, or even post?
So obviously at the moment pre-cooling is quite a big one.
Yeah.
So you'll see in a lot of elite athletic worlds, people pre-cool with ice vests, ice baths, ice cooling. Yeah. A particular one which I think is quite effective, and something we're going to try and do in my PhD, is called like an ice slushy or an ice slurry.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's basically like ingesting like crushed ice, and why one is really practical because like think about it, like you don't have to carry around an ice vest with you or like lug a whole massive bath around to places. Yeah. And also if you think about it, so you ingest this crushed ice, and the process of when it's ice is inside your body needs to convert to water. Yeah. And how it does that, it actually extracts like heat basically from your body. Yeah. So that's a really effective way to cool you down.
Oh wow. Okay. Should kind of, if people are racing in hot conditions, do you recommend kind of this is the go-to method?
Practicality wise, 100%. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I know some companies are starting to produce these. Okay. Obviously, like it's something easy you could actually make yourself if you've got like a machine at home. Crush some ice. Yeah. Ingest it beforehand. Yeah. And some, I guess it's even possible to do during. Yeah. Probably not a lot of research done in that, but yeah, a lot of research is showing if you cool yourself down before the race, you lower down your core body temperature, so it takes longer for it to reach. Yeah. Yeah. Reach a high level.
And funny enough, we've got a Tour de France on it in the background, and I've seen on you they have the vests going on. I think it was either yesterday or the day before they were racing in some like 41 degree.
Yeah, 41. Wow.
It was absolutely insane, and they all had kind of these, which is where this question come about is, what can we do? Because obviously we're going towards a world now where it's just hot, like especially for the cycling races, triathlon races, you can't get away these days. We're racing in hot conditions, like even I'm on 70.3 Swansea in Wales, cold, wet. That was a non-wetsuit legal swim.
Yeah, was it? Wow.
In South Wales, it's so cold.
Yeah.
But because of the heat wave, the pros weren't allowed to wear wetsuits because it was so hot. So yeah, we're definitely going. I think we're definitely going to kind of a world where I think everyone should be more knowledgeable definitely. About what we can do just throughout. So
yeah, it's not going to get better anytime soon. No. This is the trajectory. Like nowadays.
Yeah. So pre-race, ice slushies and stuff for athletes, if got a cooling vest, great. But practicality wise, ice slushies during a race, if people start thinking, do you know what, I'm getting extremely hot here. We've talked about the mindset of an athlete of not wanting to give up. What can people do to cool down during?
Well, what you see, like a lot of people do already is which is already going to be effective, is like literally water onto the body, basically.
Yeah.
Because basically what that's going to do is the water, when it's on the skin, it's basically going to simulate sweat.
Yeah.
So, and how we cool, one of the ways that we cool down obviously is when sweat evaporates from the skin.
Yeah.
So if we chuck water on to our skin, let that evaporate, that's going to cool us down. And there's also kind of a way to like stop dehydration in a way, because you're going to like stop producing sweat on the skin, so you can conserve more body in the water. Yeah. Obviously the main priority would be, if you are dehydrated, is to drink the water. Feeling okay, then definitely chuck the rest of the water onto the surfaces of the skin.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, if you're watching now and you're racing in a hot climate over the weekend, then make sure you put in ice cold water down you. And then post race, if someone can't kind of cool down post race.
Yeah, post race is an interesting one. I think definitely importantly, seek shade. Like especially like when you're seeing the weather temperatures like on your Apple phone or whatnot, it does not consider the powerfulness of the sun, basically. And that is not to be underestimated. Like for example, the temperature you see is what the temperature is in the shade. So if it's 30 degrees, that's the temperature in the shade. And if you step out from the shade, you can already like feel how powerful that sun is. So definitely get into shade, and ideally with a room with aircon. That'd be ideal. Definitely cool yourself down as quickly as possible. Yeah,
it's quite difficult in the UK.
It is in the UK, but definitely the UK is not adapted for like these conditions at all. As you can see, many complaints you're hearing people saying, especially with transport, like the transport needs aircon, which is true. Like we do need to be better adapted, I think, in the UK in the future. Yeah.
And then in terms of, I've seen a lot of kind of different research out there, but ice baths.
Yes.
I feel like this is such a big topic of discussion now. How does that help? Obviously cools you down straight away, but like I've heard that like just in day-to-day kind of life, if you get a hot shower, that then cools you down because it opens up the pores. And I know a lot of people believe that. Is that right? Are we better off getting in cold after a race, before a race, to cool us down? Yeah, just tell us what you know about kind of ice baths and how they work, how they can help, or if they do help.
Well, like I said, I guess an ice bath before a race is going to do the same as pre-cooling you. So that will help lower your core body temperature down, and generally is effective. But like I said, not the most practical. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you're like, for example, like an amateur athlete, if you do that before a race, but it takes you like an hour to 2 hours to get to the race, the benefit's going to worn off by then, realistically.
Yeah.
So it's only like going to be practical if you're an elite athlete which has got an ice bath right by the start line.
Yeah.
And what was your second question?
Post race.
Post race. Well, it depends. I feel like, well, you hear, not specifically in my field, but a lot of people going on about how ice bath, if it's in training, post training, is not that beneficial. Yeah. I don't know if you heard. Because it's like kind of stopping those benefits of the training adaptations. Yeah. But supposedly if it's after a race, then, I mean, again, not in my field, but it could, thermally, we can help cool you down, which could be good. But also, I guess, when you're not after that training adaptation after a race, then it's going to also be good for your muscles and stuff like that.
Nice. So, kind of moving on, or kind of going back to what we said before about kind of temperature and humidity.
Yeah.
Is humidity a bigger killer than temperature on its own?
Yes, depending on the temperature.
Okay.
Humidity is very powerful depending on the temperature is the main answer.
Yeah.
So, for example, when a lot of people talk about relative humidity
Mm-hmm.
In this context. So 20 degrees, 30% humidity is not the same as 30 degrees, 30% humidity. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the absolute humidity would be higher in 40 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think if you're in a hot environment and it's humid, that is the killer, definitely.
Okay.
Because one of the unique ways how we cool down, like I said, is we sweat and we evaporate the sweat.
Yeah.
But if it's really hot and really humid, the sweat basically has nowhere to evaporate because it kind of works like your physics lessons back at school. Like you move from a high gradient to a low gradient. So the skin wants to move from like a high water pressure on your skin to a low water pressure in the environment. But if it's already really high and humid in the atmosphere, then the sweat's got nowhere to escape and it'll just fall off your body. Yeah. Which is really dangerous. So.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually got a quote from, I think it was Holger Rune.
Okay.
I definitely butchered that name, but he was a tennis player and they were playing in the Shanghai Masters.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was a couple of years ago, and it was 34 degrees and 80% humidity, and they were still playing. So I guess the question off the back of that is there a percentage of humidity and a temperature that is just we can't compete, we can't race?
Short answer, yes, most definitely there would be. So it's kind of like debated in research, but like what's been set as like what's not survivable is it's called like a wet bulb temperature of 35 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So what I mean by wet bulb temperature, the easiest way to define it, so 35 degrees Celsius wet bulb temperature means 35 degrees Celsius and 100% humidity, which obviously wouldn't be that possible in many places. But that could also mean, I don't know the exact calculation, but that could be 37 degrees Celsius and 80% humidity would be the same as 35 degrees Celsius, 100.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is because basically how we cool down our skin, how we dissipate heat to environments also be increased skin blood flow, and that's to make our skin hotter.
Yeah.
And typically what people argue is our skin can only get to 35 degrees Celsius, right? Okay. So if the outside is 35 degrees Celsius and our skin is 35 degrees Celsius, the heat's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And if it's 100% humidity, then we're also not able to get our sweat anywhere either. So that basically means it's impossible to cool down.
Okay.
That's why it's considered not survivable, basically.
All right. Interesting.
No, it is interesting.
Is there a temperature, say in the UK for example, where we're fairly low humidity, is it a temperature where kind of governing bodies, races say can't race? Because obviously the Tour de France for example that we're watching in the background, I think it was 41 degrees. They're obviously not as humid as other places. Do you know if there's a temperature where people can say can't do this for amateurs and professionals? Does it vary? I
mean, it probably should vary.
Yeah. And
to my knowledge, I don't think there is an absolute there is a temperature. I think it's basically it's up to the governing body and higher up than that, it's up to the governing policies of the parliament. Well, hence why with our recent heat waves, there's been a lot more talk about what the number should be, where it should be, but I think it's not. To my knowledge, it's not announced anywhere.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, which is crazy. But I guess, like you said, we've had cancellations and races, so it's definitely it seems like it's just up to the discretion of how they're feeling a few days before the race on the day.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, there isn't a temperature at the moment.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
Well,
because, I mean, obviously my sport is Ironman racing, long distance triathlon, and I know recently they cancelled Ironman Nice in France because the temperature was too high. Then Ironman Frankfurt went on a kind of not even a half distance, but they reduced the bike and reduced the run.
Oh, did they?
But the temperatures were massively different.
Were they? Do you remember what they were? I'm curious.
Not off the top of my head. Definitely in the 30s, like high 30s. Maybe Nice was touching 40. But again, we say this, the Tour de France is going on there. So going back to what you said earlier, should there be a difference between amateurs and professionals? But then it opens up, I guess, kind of a whole different conversation where you have these top level amateurs that are probably, especially in triathlon and Ironman races, that some top amateurs beat the pros.
Yeah,
so if they're then stopping top amateurs from racing, where's then the line?
Yeah, true. Like ethically, like you said there, like who knows where the line is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, at least physiologically, like, these elite athletes can typically like obtain higher core body temperatures.
Yeah.
And they're starting at lower core body temperatures as well. So like that way, like, you could argue elite athletes could you could allow events at higher temperatures for them compared to amateurs.
Yeah.
But then I guess the counter argument is that also the same for like high level amateurs, but their elite athletes are going to be way more motivated to push themselves to the limits, which can obviously be really dangerous in these hot environments where if they're, for example, if they're feeling symptoms of like, I'm getting really hot here, but like I need to finish this race, then it's kind of like a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Yeah, but then I guess it kind of makes sense in a way because these professionals do have medics on hand quite quickly, with amateurs, especially in full iron distances, they could be on the road on their own for hours.
Scary.
Which is crazy. Yeah. So kind of with that in mind, adapting to the heat, and especially where the world is going, is heat training worth doing for amateurs if they're then going to race in the heat?
Well, if they are going to race in the heat and this is something that they know they're going to do, they're motivated to do, then 100%. Definitely you would be able to get benefits from that when you're racing in that hot environment. Whereas, I don't know, a question is if amateur athletes are not going to be racing in the heat and they're doing heat training, well, I mean, it depends what level they're at, but I would say it's maybe not necessary for an amateur athlete. It really depends what your goal is, but like if your goal is to race doing this race as a hot environment, then you could definitely would definitely advise it though.
So for amateurs who are not racing in the heat, that are maybe doing 20 hours, 25 hours a week at a push for the top amateurs, it's kind of not worth doing heat training if you're not training in the heat, or do you get those adaptations?
The thing is, you will if they are doing it, but like research has looked at with your heat training. So if you're heat training and you're racing the heat, you do see those benefits quite profoundly. But if you do the heat training and you race in normal conditions, the researchers here say basically like you probably can see like small benefits, but they're like very small. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, kind of related to that, we obviously live in the UK. Winters are freezing cold. If we then go and compete in the summer, is there anything that we can do to kind of, for amateurs who can't afford to travel out to the climates that are hot, and maybe you've got to train in the UK but are racing in the heat, what can we do through the winter to get those adaptations? Is it just a case of checking on extra layers?
I mean, that's quite a good cheap way. Obviously another way people have access to it is sauna exposure. I guess people have looked at doing heat training sauna after training, post training.
Oh wow!
So that immediately, like, they've done the training session and then they hop in the sauna for a certain amount of time. I'd importantly say that for heat training to work is that you do need a consistent stimulus of the heat. So like you doing that once a week, not really going to see much benefit. I think so. Like if you're doing it consistently, like throughout the week, then that's one effective way. And obviously, if you're an athlete which can afford it, then obviously you can do a heat acclimation. So like for example, like coming to universities where they have these heat chambers like us, and actually like exercising in the heat is another way, but obviously not financially. Possible for many people.
Yeah, and you obviously mentioned about consistency. What is that consistency? Is that 3 times a week, 4 times a week, as much as possible, or because some long distance triathletes are obviously training twice a day, 5 days a week? 6 days a week?
Yeah, good question. I think some research just looked at comparing like short to medium to long consistency exposure, and obviously the more you do it, the more benefit you're going to get.
Yeah.
But even like the difference between small to medium and medium to large, the medium to large isn't that big of a change. So like, I would say anything between like at least 3 to 4 would be
3 to 4 times.
Oh yeah, during the week.
Yeah,
you're gonna see at least you're gonna see some benefits.
Yeah. Interesting. And then kind of what are the biggest mistakes you think people can make when heat training? Is it just maybe the lack of consistency?
I think that's what immediately comes to mind. Like just not being consistent, not doing it enough. Basically.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Nice. Thank you. Anything kind of else in terms of your research that you think can help people in their training? Because most of the listeners, obviously, we're in the really early stages of this podcast. I think most of the listeners, probably like 20 of them.
Nice.
But is it anything that you think people need to know, can do within the training, whether that's kind of need to know on race day, if it's hot, that we haven't already gone over, if they can do something in the training to help with the heat? Anything that we kind of haven't gone over?
Good question. I think nothing that we haven't already said immediately comes to mind. I think, like I said, importantly, just to try and cool yourself down as much as possible if you know it's going to be a hot day.
Nice. So, in terms of kind of your experience with heat, now I know we've briefly touched on this, but talk us through your experience with heat quite recently, if you know.
With what you mean last weekend?
With the race when you you passed out, right?
It's really questionable because I don't know. For me personally, I think about, and I'm not sure how much the heat had an impact on that day.
Yeah.
Because what was it? I mean, it was in June, but like it was early in the morning. It was high teens, I think, at that point.
Okay.
So 19.
Yeah.
And it was a 10-kilometer race as well. So that makes me think the actual impact of heat might be minimal, but it probably could have still been there. But yeah, that wasn't a good day for me.
Talk us through it.
So basically, I did this 10-kilometer leg of a big race called the UK Ekiden, which is basically this big relay race, which stems from Japan. So they did this within university teams, corporate teams within the UK this time. And so I basically ran the first leg of this, which was a 10-kilometer leg. And so when we had conversations about my 10k time, so I was feeling quite optimistic that day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like a sub 35 minute 10k could have been possible.
Really?
So that's what I set out to do.
Yeah.
And my goal was just to try and stick with the people there and just go out hard and hold on, basically.
Yeah.
Which I did. So I don't know so you see on my first 3 kilometer splits, I'm running like 3:20s basically. And after those 3 kilometers, like the splits just get higher and higher. It was the worst positive splits I've ever done. And also when I set out this goal, I didn't really think about the terrain. So the event was on the Thames Path, starting at Windsor and working our way to Reading. So I ran from Windsor to Maidenhead all along the Thames Path, and the terrain was horrible, like non-tarmac, like the path going up and down, slippy, which really didn't help the carbons. I feel like I wore carbons that day. They had no effect, maybe even worse. Yeah, so it was really difficult. There was gates I had to open and close.
Oh no.
So as you see, like at halfway, like I felt like I was doing an all-out 5k.
Really?
And I had another 5k to go. And then, so long story short, I get to it was the worst. It was the worst feeling in a race. But I get to 9k, and I couldn't tell you what happened after 9k.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was.
Jesus
Christ. Just went unconscious. I mean, my split says I ran like a over a 5 minute split or something like that. I'm just running unconscious.
So what? Between 9 and 10k, you were still running?
I was still running, apparently. Yeah. And then next thing I know, wake up. I'm on the ground, and I'm just throwing up everywhere.
So just going to take a quick break to talk about Limit X Triathlon Coaching. Limit X is my own company, and we offer training programs from sprint distance to Ironman distance triathlon. We are perfect for both the beginner and elite level triathletes and anyone in between. Whether you're doing your first triathlon or you're a seasoned amateur athlete looking to PB or qualify for world championships. We already have multiple athletes on board, 5 of which are currently training for Ironman Wales in just over 2 months. And we're very excited to open up more spaces for new athletes. So if you're looking to take your triathlon racing to the next level, then please get in touch or visit limitx.org.
Yeah, I was let down being sick. And I hadn't experienced anything like that ever in my life. It was weird, like my Garmin was like sending me like emergency note, like alarms and stuff like that. Yeah, like it could tell something was wrong. It could tell something was wrong with me, which is like quite smart. But yeah, and then I was just lying. I just could not move there for ages. Like any time I tried to stood up, I would like want to throw up. It was kind of scary. Yeah. But like I remember I was just lying there and I was just like trying to look at my watch, like what time did I get?
Typical runner.
That's all I was cared about, and then like. Yeah, but luckily I don't remember. Obviously, people said I did finish. I crossed the line, and then all of a sudden, apparently, I just hit the ground.
Shit.
This is this is another main reason why I didn't want to go out too hot. Yeah. In my 10k last week because I really did not want that to happen again. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was an experience.
That's nuts. So, what's kind of your first? You wake up. What's the first thing you remember seeing?
I wake up and I'm just my vomit probably, mate. It could not stop for ages. I feel like just being in that state. It's crazy. Like I feel like definitely like it's probably not good for me. Like on the brain, like
not a chance.
I feel like just. There was not a care in the world in my head at that point. Like it's like I was such a delirious state being which I guess makes sense. I think this doesn't sound good. It was definitely an after effect on my body for the remaining week. I was having headaches for the rest of a few days afterwards. And also, what was really weird. Well, I shouldn't have done this, but I kept running throughout the week. The rest of the race.
Oh no!
And it's really interesting. My heart rate on the easy runs, I try and do a consistent roughly around 130s, which is 5 minute 30 to 6 minute pace. Yeah. 130 heart rate. But my heart rate is ridiculously low. Oh really? That week I was 110.
Jeez.
When I was that must be related to that. Yeah. So after a week it was my heart rate's back to normal in the zone, but
it's crazy.
Yeah, my body's just maybe just struggling to perfuse whilst running.
Yeah. Just recover, especially. Yeah, exactly. Put yourself in there.
Don't recommend either of those things. Running after that or doing that in the first place.
Pace yourself is the key takeaway.
Yeah, exactly. Pace yourself. You should. The split difference in my 2 10Ks has been crazy.
Yeah, nice. But at least you got over the line.
Yes, that was
last weekend.
I was saying because it's a team event. It's a rare running. It's a rare thing for it to be team based, endurance running. Yeah. If it was, I was saying if it was a solo race, I actually probably would have pulled out about 6k.
Yeah.
But because it's like team based, and I was the first runner in our team, I was like, I can't put it in here, can I? I was just like, sorry guys, like, I'm pulling out. We're not running the rest of the race. So I was like, oh god, I'm just gonna have to keep running.
What a nightmare. Oh well done then.
Yeah, cheers. Man.
Well done. So moving on to the last section, a quick fire section.
I'll try my best.
I'm gonna just get a laptop for this one. Fast paced, kind of short answers. Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright. What's the most absurd piece of training you've ever done?
Probably running an all out park run 5k the first day on the Saturday, and then the Sunday doing a hard progressive 29k long run the next day.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it now, what I know is like, why would I do that?
Yeah. Worst piece of training advice you've ever followed?
Boring, probably none. Like no one, I don't really follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been on a pretty. Are you on a training program?
Yeah, technically. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good training program then. The most expensive piece of kit that you regret buying?
Not sure how much I regret it, but I didn't ever think I'd ever spend 80 quid on running shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my half tights which I wear, it's crazy expensive, but I feel like they're necessary, so
yeah, true. One piece of training information you wish you knew. One piece of training information you wish everyone knew.
Wish everyone knew?
Yeah.
Oh, I know which I want other people to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't run 2 sessions back to back. Definitely have an easy run on for rest day after that. Yeah.
Makes sense. And this one can be a bit longer, but why the 8 marathon majors?
I just think it'd be such a cool life achievement.
Yeah.
First of all, it just started off with wanting to run a marathon. Then why not try to make it all the massive, cool 8 major marathons?
Yeah.
And then it's just a cool experience to be able. It's a good excuse to go visit all these places, which I might not have done otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to say. Just traveling, seeing different places alone.
Exactly.
It's enough to make most people want to do it. I think.
It's just a cool life achievement to say you've ran all the major marathons.
Yeah.
You get a nice medal at the end. So you did
multiple medals.
Multiple medals.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
No worries. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
I've definitely learned a lot in terms of heat training, and hopefully we can have you on again.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Maybe after London.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, after you've done a marathon PB, and we'll get you on to talk about that. Hopefully, not the same story as the 10k the other week.
Hopefully, that'll be a cool story about London, which I can't say yet.
Yeah. Nice. Do you want to shout out your socials?
Yeah. I'm on Instagram as Shoji Runs. If you want to give me a follow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then but that's it. So thank you very much for listening to the 168-hour podcast. This was only episode 3, which is nuts.
My pleasure. So early on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And we'll see what happens in episode 4. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.